Hey people, Positive Paul here. Sunday, August 14th, 2022. And I believe I got most of the Montauk business out of my system. Last video I struggled through. So what I did was I went back to this whole issue concerning the hybrids. And this will go back to the sons of God, the giants. And I touched on this before, and we'll end up in Chronicles 1, chapter 20, and we'll go through this real quick. But we can possibly all agree that the idea of these hybrids, these reptilian shapeshifters, was non-existent before 9/11. Now, again, if I am incorrect, then I would love somebody, because I am not above criticism. And certainly Uncle Carl and George Bush's and Kissinger's goon squads on social media always come out to greet me. It's not because they disagree with my information. It's only to aggravate me. Because the quick story, around 2014, down here in Rosarito Beach, Mexico, I was hanging out with some characters. I never once plotted with any of these people about trying to commit a crime. In fact, I would laugh at them when they would talk about some of the little schemes that they try to pull over on once what was called the American dream, which essentially boils down to money. It's how can we get our hands on money? And one evening I went down to a place called Puerto Nuevo, just south of Rosarito Beach, and there was an individual that was an American. He was actually Armenian. He had this big custom home that we went to, and it was pretty interesting. He actually was growing marijuana, and his operation was pretty much concealed. And we show up. There's I think 4 of us. Now, one of these characters, I had been around for about a month, and I knew something was not right with this individual. So we arrived to this guy's house, and he gives us a little tour, and he shows us the big grow room, and we sit down, and it's just me and the one individual that in my mind I question about who is this guy. So he begins to tell me about he's having a birthday party coming up, and how the last one he had, he told me about the activities that was going on, concerning the strippers and, all the just use your imagination, people. So we're sitting there, and I got the sense that he was here to actually somehow, I don't know if this was going to be the case, but somehow suck me in to all this debauchery. And what I what I did was is I kind of burst his bubble. I'm like, hey man, you're in Mexico. And by the way, he was an American, wasn't Mexican. But I said, hey man, you're in Mexico. There are beautiful women here. And these women are loyal to their men. Their men, they beat them up, they cheat on them like it's nothing. And these women are just loyal. It's amazing. I'm like, why, you got money. Why would you, you should, get one of these nice Mexican ladies down here to take care of you, man. Why you want to hang around with these whores? And when I said that, this individual's eyes, the pupils, the eyeballs rolled up into his head, and it looked like an opaque type, I want to say, for lack of a better way of saying it, the horizontal blinds, and when you release them, they drop down. It seemed like this opaque layer of skin had dropped down when the eyeballs went up, and this only lasted for merely 1 second, but because I was looking directly at him, I was able to pick up on it. Now, one of the things that has saved me in all my little run-ins with the freaks that they've surrounded me by is when these events occur, I never flinch. I just carried on with the conversation. But what happened was it caused him to get up and walk outside with the other guys. So I thought that was interesting. And it turned out all my intuition was correct. This individual was a hybrid that was somehow either trying to do me in or get me sucked into another type of event where it's going to make me look bad. And he quickly, after that, had disappeared. We had one more encounter because they sent them back in. And I quickly dismissed him, but then I never saw him again. And then the goofballs that I was with, I said, hey, what happened to this guy? And they're like, I don't know. They wouldn't tell me anyway if they knew. But that was something, these events would stick in your mind, your memory. And, later on, I would use that event to actually, that was around the time when I was able to see some of these attributes in some of these hybrids that are camped out down here in Rosarito Beach. Now, they don't come around me anymore because they know it's just like if they are a mile away from me, getting ready to roll up on me, my skin will crawl. And if they get next to me, I just know who they are, so they don't come around. That's why they just send out these dopey, poor, raggedy-ass Mexicans that don't know better to be this community watch, while the cartel's running amok. Mayhem and murder. But I take this hybrid situation seriously, and most of America is clueless. The information is out there. Now, again, we know that really the main geographical locations that are concerned about this, that there's people, whether you want to call them conspiracy theorists or truthers or whatever, however we identify them, they're only located mainly in America, Europe, Canada, and Australia. Now, I've been telling these Mexicans about this when I get an opportunity, and I have to profile the ones that will, if I think they're going to reject this information, I won't bother. But if I think they're an open-minded individual, I will try to, you know, give them information, something to think about, something to mull over. And up till now, it's less than, who knows, out of the thousands of people, there are probably less than a dozen that maybe a light bulb went off inside them. And while they don't obviously, you know, worry about this, because none of them do. But, you know, hey, they were warned. So what we try to do is, if this is the case, that we have these creeps living among us, and their number one goal is to replace humans with the whole transhumanist agenda, and yet, if you put a percentage on the people that take it seriously in America and the people that would just either are clueless or they don't care, I would put it about 90-10 maybe, you know? I mean, I'm throwing out random numbers. I've got no empirical evidence, but, you know, you understand what I'm getting at. It's 2022. All this is in our face, but yet, again, I got to slow down. I don't want to get into the fact with this vaccine business, but, you know, this is another way to cloud the minds of these Gentiles up in the United States that got no clue their salvation can be nigh, but they're going to, unfortunately, miss the boat. They're going to, you know, be late to get on the train. And the end result is they may have to get their head chopped off in order to, you know, have eternity. So, in Chronicles 1, chapter 20, we see, and it came to pass that after the year was expired, at the time the kings go out to battle, Joab led forth the power of the army and wasted the country of the children of Ammon, and came and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried at Jerusalem, and Joab smote Rabbah and destroyed it. And David took the crown of their king from off his head and found it to weigh a talent of gold, and there were precious stones in it. It was set upon David's head, and he brought also exceeding much spoil out of the city. Now, this is the part that I went over it last time, and this is just bizarre that very few people will touch this as far as individuals that study the Bible. It's something that we are horrified in a modern sense that if this is occurring, it's just, how could someone do this? So what happened is David, he brought out the people that were in it and cut them with saws and with harrows of iron and with axes. Even so dealt David with all the cities of the children of Ammon, and David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. Now, could you sleep that night after going through all that? It would be a tough night's sleep. Hey, buddy. But, you know, in a modern era, and this is what I wanted to get to, I believe these hybrids, these Hollywood hybrid hacks, use a lot of their storylines that come from the Bible. And we all know about the slasher movies. The like Hostel. What was the one movie? Saw, I believe. But the thing of it is this was necessary. in order to send a message. And it came to pass after this that there arose war at Gezer with the Philistines. Excuse me. No? Let's continue. At which time, I can't pronounce that. The Hushathite slew Sippai, that was of the children of the giant, and they were subdued. Oops, that didn't work too well. So what I was thinking about is here we are all the way into Chronicles, and the giants are still hanging around. Why is that? Now, we know about the sons of God. That's what probably brought on the flood. You know, if you had a list of reasons of why the flood occurred, that may have been right up on the top of the list. And for some reason, the flood did not wipe them out. Now, there has been a line of thinking that the flood was only located in one area of Earth. It wasn't the whole Earth that was flooded. Now, that would make sense only if the population that time was only located in the Middle East. And what that would do is that would cause us to reconsider how we view history, reconsider how we view the ancestry of many groups. And we'll just take the American Native Indian as one example. Or was it that, yes, these other individuals, groups were there, but they were not acting wicked? But that, again, that goes against that man's was, imagination was wicked from his birth. So that raises some questions. Now, clearly, moving through the Old Testament, specifically in Numbers and Deuteronomy, we know about the evil report that caused them to wander in the wilderness 40 years. But in Deuteronomy, they're still having to deal with these giants, particularly the Amorite king and Og of Bashan. They were supposed to have been the last two during the mop-up operations as the Israelites were beginning to enter into the promised land. But again, we're here in Chronicles with David having to deal with these giants. So the point to this is, when we talk about hybrids, we talk about these reptilian shapeshifters, which really is a horrible term. And remember, when it comes to the so-called targeted individual community, Richard Bruce was, he's one of the ones that was around from the beginning. But his whole shtick is the reason why these American Nazi Edomite Jew Satanists unleashed the machine on Richard Bruce was strictly because he was uploading and exposing reptilian shapeshifters on YouTube. Now, if anybody's lived through the past 7 years concerning this targeted individual community, very, very few people would get involved in this. They look, most of them could barely pick up a Bible. And that's a whole different story, but it's germane to, again, that we really don't know much before 9/11, and then it became an issue. Why is that? It's because maybe these characters began to become worried that they're going to get found out, that they can't hide from us forever, and they needed a contingency plan to mitigate any pushback. And one way of doing that is put their frauds in to make this look like a joke, these reptilian shapeshifters. It's only in Hollywood. Only in Hollywood would you find them, in the movies. So here we are, and there was war again with the Philistines. And Elihan, the son of Yair, my vision's starting to go blurry, slew Lami, the brother of Goliath the Gittite, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam. And yet again there was war at Gath, where was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 24, 6 on each hand and 6 on each foot. And he also was the son of a giant. But when he defied Israel, Jonathan the son of Shemiah, David's brother, slew him. These were born unto the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. So this is interesting, because does it stop there? Well, it looks like it didn't, right, folks? So let's real quick, I want to wrap this video up. And who are the descendants of the sons of God? Who are the descendants of these giants? What were the Nazis doing in the concentration camps? The theory goes is cloning was taking place back then. And now it's hey, Dolly the sheep, all that. Someone had recently sent me something on Dave Chappelle. And normally I won't even bother, but this person, I think he's okay. He means well. So I spent the time to look at his information. And man, there's something to this. I've beat up on Donnie Marshall. Where is he at right now? So we always have more questions, but this is something that's interesting. Here is Zuckerberg in what I assume to be one of his first television appearances on mainstream media, and he is on CNBC. And so one of the empty suits on CNBC, is we're going all over. Hey, where's the Facebook headed and all this, and what are you guys up to? But at one point, Zuckerberg's eyeball starts flipping out. Now, again, when a lot of these things occur, I try to guide people first, understand what they were talking about at the time of the electromagnetic distortion occurrence, at the time of the shift, and that will give you clues on what is truth and what is lie. So he is doing his spiel, but you see how you get this little node come down from his eyelid? What was going on is it was oscillating back or up and down, oscillating up and down for maybe around 10 seconds. And it just, I saw it and I'm like, what the heck is this? You know, he wasn't blinking. This little thing right here was jumping up and down. So I said, son of a gun, you know? Now, look, we all know about Zuckerberg. He's just, look, you know that this garbage with social media, the fairy tale land known as social media, specifically YouTube and Facebook, was created to get a handle on things. Because there's not enough boots on the ground to be following around these God-fearing humans that understand we are amongst these freaks of nature. Now, they all seem to have one thing in common, is they appear to be, they have the characteristics of an Edomite. And I'm not going to get into what they are. I will someday. But what I would like to know is, when it comes to these hybrids, post-World War II hybrids, how is this a case of, you know, these Operation Paperclip scientists in the beginning, when they were done working, you know, on all their Frankenstein experiments, they would go, you know, to these wild parties and have orgies, and they would get these women pregnant. Now, if you're, you know, card-carrying Satanist, you've been through some rituals, you're high up in the Luciferian hierarchy, you know your DNA's been changed. What it does is essentially, it's a degradation of the DNA, the original DNA blueprint. And then once the fall of man occurred, what happened was those original humans, before Cain and possibly through Cain, what I believe is those are the ones that we call the gray aliens. But they also, they maybe could be the fallen angels, but they lost their illumination. And that's where you get this pale gray, you know, skin, and their bodies are all just, you know, sickly looking, disgusting. But as time continued, what they would want to do is find a way to illuminate their self again and make them look more human. And then obviously, by the time you come to the Israelites, even though they failed miserably, a lot of them didn't fail. They did what they knew was right. And if you clearly saw an Israelite in touch with the Creator, he didn't look like an Edomite. An Edomite was probably looking all sickly and pale back then. So there's a technology, something, to mitigate the aspect of the fallen DNA, which brings on all these you know, pretty, I don't know what the word I want to use right now, but it's just something about that they do not have that illumination, that glow. And that's in the modern world, you see how this developed, all right? Plastic surgery, all the makeup. And here's one clue I will give you about the hybrids on the story I just shared in the beginning, is their skin will always look like they had plastic surgery, all right? It's something like this skin seems like a mask on their face, as we say. So you have the whole aspect too of the slit eye, the reptilian slit eye. But that's another aspect or effect of the degradation of the DNA, the DNA degrading in such a way that if they were human, well, not no more. So it's interesting to see what the deal is. Uh-oh, there's Basagio. I'm not done with this guy. Let's, what did I want to get to, folks? Oh, okay, right here. All right, these hybrids. Now, the fallen DNA causes this electromagnetic distortion. Now, look at Wilcox's mouth. Do you see how you get the geometric pattern and the eyeballs go all? It's the demonic distortion on the eyeballs. That's not his eyelids being closed, you assholes. This is this freak of nature doing his spiel in his little mansion, wherever he is. I mean, these people, they are doing well. At the same time, they're misleading the rest of these poor saps, meaning the Gentiles, that can have salvation. And our other question is, can the Gentile have the slit eye? Now, let's take me, for example, someone that's been put through satanic ritual abuse, satanic rituals, MK Ultra, these implants. Yes, you know, I might display that. Not this, but the slit eye. Again, my challenge to you freaks on social media that doubt I don't know what I'm talking about. So these are the people, all right, that these sad sack Satanist, American Nazi, Edomite Jew Satanist want to represent, to mitigate the fact that you got assholes out there like myself who deal with this. Now, there's other people doing good work. This Charles Folkart, he does excellent work, but he won't get involved in this stuff. So this is what I'm saying. In order for us to make, just push this to the limit and over, get things to our favor, we need to have a consensus on what is important that needs to be discussed. And right now is, if there's these freaks that don't have salvation, but they're out there telling you, oh, just release your hidden past, the negative energies. Salvation is out there for everyone. Just be in tune with Mother Gaia. All the new age garbage, everything. But again, if you saw this in real time, would you have faith in this individual? Could you rely upon his information? Do you get this, people? So you got to ask yourself, why does this happen on some individuals and not others? And the thing of it is, when everything else in the video is just fine, hunky-dory, inanimate objects, no electromagnetic distortion, you need to scratch your head. Now, these characters, all right, that they're like cockroaches on mainstream media. Do you see how the lip scrunches up? Is this a son of the giants? You gotta have fun with this, people, because if you don't, you're gonna cry. Look at little Susie Q, all right? What's your faith in her? All right, we know the deal, folks. We know the deal. Now, again, it doesn't matter who they are. They are placed in positions of power, folks. They took over political, judicial, legal, medical, the psychiatric industry. And then it's filtered down now into the police, these detectives, in the DMV, all right? Where I guess they can make fake documents. I don't know. Can they do that, folks? Can there be a mole? Can there be a mole in the DMV and create fake documents for somebody? I wonder what the FBI would say about that. Have they ever run into that situation when they're doing their big investigations? Yeah. Now, again, if you were put through MK Ultra, Monarch programming, satanic ritual abuse, any type of experimentation, they are not going to let you just walk away and say, "Oh, okay, thanks. Thanks. I'll go, find my job and release the hidden past. And hey, everything's going to be all right." No, they don't go away. They will put implants, tracking implants in your teeth at the very bare minimum. Now, I got implants all over my body. And then I got this guy who I think on BitChute is okay, this sugar-filled guy, who keeps questioning me about these flyovers that have been going steady nonstop since 2016. The only when they slowed down was March of 2020. I wonder why. And that was leading up to my accident. So yeah, there's these issues. And what do you think? Does Joe Biden care about that? Here he is. He's screaming for mercy, saying, "Yes, God, I know we've screwed up big time, and I know I'm toast and everyone else that came before me in the presidency. Maybe we can say JFK was okay. Ike probably shit his drawers when he went to the big meeting with the Greys over on Edwards Air Force Base. But yeah, he might have been okay. But I tell you what, his great-great-granddaughter, you're not your grandpappy. You're a hybrid freak, Laura. And you know that." Now, the mask. It's something to do with the sunlight. The electromagnetic spectrum exposes these freaks. And this is one. Look how her hairline is, folks. Now watch this. This is Broomhilda, all right? Little Stewie's wife, Broomhilda. Do you see how you get, it's like, it's a mask. It just, with the fine lines and all that, it's just bizarre. It's bizarre, people. And I dug up one more on Duncan. Look at this freak. Yeah, Montauk Project. Well, if there's time travel, folks, I was certainly involved. I can place myself. I've got high-ranking Satanists in my family. And this is what's so funny, that, people can question me all day long. But, man, if I'm providing this information, you got to give something back. So it's one of these things, folks. I will give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But yet, there's a reason why no one acknowledges me. There's a reason why it's as if I don't exist. And I'm going to tell you something right now, BitChute. There's been people leaving comments on my channel that you remove. Now, see, the thing of it is some of these individuals I don't personally know. I don't know how to contact them. And, people got to go move on and live with their life. So, yes, they may watch my video, make a comment. BitChute removes it because they don't want me communicating with that individual. But now I have people that have actually known me in my life. And one in particular has been leaving comments on BitChute for months. And they never post. So, hey, take that for what it's worth. That's a UFO in one of my videos just the other day. And Sugarfield, I'm going to do something for you, buddy. I'm going to do another breakdown because I think you're a real guy. I think you're concerned about your future, your family's future. And I want you to understand this information, because I know sometimes I don't do a good job at this because I get worked up and I'm constantly being disrupted, as you just seen. These videos, they're difficult for me to do because I don't have privacy. I don't have resources. Again, I'm using a chitty bang bang iPad that's all beat up but still working. They can't crash it. They've done some damage to it. And then my other phone, it's full, and I just do the best I can because look, you know, I got nothing to do but this. There's no job to go to. On a daily basis, I'm dodging these Satanists down here in Rosarito while the community watch peeks out their window to get their little benefit, turning a blind eye to the cartel. It's a joke. Now, this guy, all right? This isn't going to be I guess, representation because I looked for a cleaner version of this video. Someone put a video on BitChute that doesn't like Alex, and they don't even understand that in this video, again, as I've been saying, even though Alex, he's the tip of the spear fighting the globalist, and now him and Steve Bannon are shucking it up. But look at Alex's mouth. Do you see the geometric pattern that I showed you just before, people? Now watch this. He knows something is going wrong. It's going haywire, and he has to touch himself. So the sawtooth effect. Now watch this. What he does is his mouth goes all wacky, and he literally wipes his chin to correct it, and he does correct it. This guy, I tell you. And hey, Alex, I deserve that $5,000, but since you're broke now, I'll give you a break. I went on YouTube to defend your fat Jabba the Hutt ass. And yeah, you must be Preston Nichols' son. But I went on YouTube risking my channel for your dumb ass. And no one else did that. You know this, buddy. You know who I am. And yeah, I'm walking around flat broke and okay. Yeah, you gotta pay a couple $1,000,000. You know, this is all a freak show. So, what do you want from me, people? Now I just got upset. So I am going to stop the video. And again, I will be back for another day. God bless all the God-fearing people around the globe.